All right, so the many benefits of building a family brand, and I can see this being very different and very important depending on what phase of life you're in, how old your children are, how old your parents and other loved ones may be, how close-knit you are with extended family like siblings and things like that. But it's really taken the way a lot of corporations and a lot of businesses are running their business now to have meaning. And in a second, when we talk to Derek and Kelly, you'll hear a lot about that why and that meaning behind what they do. And, we're really learning in the business world how important that is. It's not just to have profits, but to have purpose. People who feel like they're making an impact are more productive, they work harder, they're more inspired. I know for me, I love the money I make being a financial advisor, but I also love helping you guys all day. And if you removed the aspect of helping people from it, it just wouldn't be as motivating, right? And sometimes some of those things and just, little things here and there and seeing that difference in your lives as much as motivating is the money. So you got to balance these things. But the founder of the Campfire Effect, Chris Smith, says that the crucial driver to create a healthier connection, better leaders, greater prosperity, and stronger overall society is how intentional each family, and I love this, each family is defining what they believe, value, and stand for. And here's what I took out of that line, each family. There's a lot of influences on your family. There's going to be the schools they go to. There's going to be their friends. There's going to be social media. There's going to be your church and other faith-based institutions. All these influencers are coming in, and it's really, for you as a family, how to digest that and input it, something you can intentionally do, and the way you do that impacts society. So let's say I'll give you a great example. Let's say your child's getting picked on in high school. Well, that kid could grow up and be a bully himself because he was picked on, or you can be intentional about talking about how that's not the right way to treat people. And instead of fighting back, we're going to, kill them with kindness, so to say. And when you think about your money, the brand extends beyond money. But let's talk about it getting into it. There's really kind of three areas that he talks about in this article. And y'all have this emailed out. I think we have it do we have this posted on our blog on our website also?
I believe so. I can send out the link if they have not seen it, or send out a copy of it.
They could go there if they want to. Yeah. So divide it into these three areas. What is your culture? What is your language? And what experiences do you want? And one thing he talks about, and this is a great line, armed with clarity about what matters most, children can potentially use inherited wealth not just to live more authentic and meaningful lives, but also to better support their communities instead of letting the money ruin them. Think back to the people you know. I bet all of you know people who've inherited money and they just squander it or fight over it, and then brother and sister no longer get along after mom and dad have passed away. And there's no reason to leave somebody something that makes their life worse. And part of this family brand and the idea about it is, how do you get them thinking positively and making these good decisions? And depending on where you're at in life, if I was a lot of you guys in my later year, 65 and older, and my children are in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, I would say do this in collaboration with your children. If you're my age, I need to do this with my wife, but I don't necessarily want to ask my 3-year-old and 6-year-old what they think our family brand should be. They would probably say Legos. My job is to keep them from only thinking about themselves, right? So a line that jumped out at me on the culture here, and I kind of said this earlier, but culture is taking a stand for how you connect as a family. Make no mistake, there is a culture that exists in your home right now, even if you never defined it. And that jumped on me because when you think of it that way, you got a culture. Is it intentional or not, right? And then language. How do you talk to one another? And how important can that be? And I want to read a line here, and then I want to share some anecdotal stuff I've seen with our clients. If you grew up in a home where can't and what you should be doing were common phrases, one environment was created. One that is very different from the environment created in a home where you got this and anything is possible, is commonly said. How cool is that? And just thinking about, even if you're trying to say the same thing, phrasing it different. And the story I was going to tell on this, I see so much in you guys and how you invest and how comfortable y'all are with things like market pullbacks, how either frugal or spending you are. When I learn more about y'all's families, I see so much of your parents, often who I've never met, in your behavior. And so often people who are good investors, they learn that from their parents. So often people who are bad investors, they learn that from their parents. And, know that these things get observed and picked up. And then finally, experiences. And think about this, to me, and COVID at least, has made this so darn apparent. Those bucket list things, you never know when you will or won't be able to do them. And so making those, and the way he uses it, most of us are on autopilot with our traditions, but making them intentional. What are the things you can count on? What are the things that really matter the most? And not necessarily all big ones, but what is the most important one to you? So like a tradition I've tended to have with my kids is going to breakfast. And I hope that those are, times they remember later on. So anyway, cool article, cool concept. And I tell you what, if your kids, and it doesn't apply to everybody, but if your kids are people who need some of these lessons and conversations before possibly getting your money, you could make a generational difference. Statistically, almost over half of inheritance is spent within the first 18 months, and even in uber wealthy families, so we're talking 50 million and above, wealth is squandered by the third generation, earned in the first, maintained by the second, squandered by the third on average. So just think about that stuff when you think about this platform.